help accountants and bookkeepers globally create what we call a revolutionary firm. So today in this session, these are the things that we're going to go through, and that is why you must create packages. It is a must. We'll explain why it is a must. How to do so, how to craft or design packages, then how to present these packages. And within this topic, there's one thing that is really valuable, and often it just gets so overlooked. So we're going to focus on that towards the end. And also there's a few other little topics we're going to try to cover. But also there's going to be plenty of time at the end for questions, but also if you want to ask your questions throughout, please do so. Anthea will be able to get them to me, and we'll be able to try to cover those on the way. So more than happy to take whatever questions as we're going through this material. So I mentioned about a revolutionary firm, and I just really want to quickly talk about what a revolutionary firm is. You know, we know that there's a whole lot of change in our industry that's been forced or been created because of technology, and as a result of that, we know that it's changing the relationships that we have with clients. And we think that there's some differences between, shall we say, a transactional firm and a revolutionary firm. The transactional firm, they're all things to all people, so their clients are an incredible cross-section of society. But as a result, they don't have that much of a strong positioning, that sort of firm. Whereas a revolutionary firm, it's very clear on who it works for, and importantly, who it doesn't. So it's crystal clear on that fact. The services are also slightly different. The transactional firm, whether it's accounting or bookkeeping, they are heavy compliance. Whereas the revolutionary firm, it's about transforming business. So it's compliance is important, but it's standing on top of that and making sense of the numbers and helping the business owner actually grow or change or alter or improve their business. With tech, the transactional firm, it's ad hoc as required, whereas the revolutionary firm, it's technology with a purpose. Technology isn't the center, but we'll use a specific suite of technology for a specific purpose to deliver the outcome for our chosen set of clients. I think the culture is significantly different. Transactional firm, it's very much about the numbers, it's very productivity driven, whereas the revolutionary firm, all the focus is on value. The marketing, and as we know, this is a month of marketing with Biz Inc. The transactional firm, it's very old school. Now that's not to say that there isn't some value in some of the tried and tested. Matt of Biz Inc. in his sessions will talk about the whole raft, but it's also in the revolutionary firm, it's all about demonstrating expertise. It's about showing that you are the answer to the problem that a certain select certain select group of clients have. And then finally, the overall purpose of the firm, transactional firm, it's really just about making a dollar, whereas the revolutionary firm, it's more than that. It's about freedom. Anthea, I'll let you interject with questions when you think it's appropriate. So,
just before you jump into it, sorry, I just wanted to add that this session will be recorded, so you'll all get a copy of the recording, and there's also some handouts in the handout section of the GoToWebinar panel, so you'll get the slide deck and also a free ebook. Sorry, you can go now.
Yes, sorry, I should have mentioned about those handouts and the ebook. Thank you. So we want to take bookkeepers and accountants on a journey from just providing information, more than just interpretation as well, but through to actually delivering transformation to their clients. And in the process, they've got better profit and freedom. And part of that is why we're talking about packaging your services. Is part of that's is important aspect of this journey of just having instead of just having a list of services on a website, most of which our clients don't understand, through to having a select set of products that we are positioning to our clients, that can be a significant part of this aspect of this journey to transformation. The Revolutionary Firm, we have a program where we help people on this journey. If anybody wants to know any more about that, that's the link that's on screen. You can have a look at a bit more info, and you can book a time to have a conversation with us. We'll talk about later about a particular prize that we're offering, but I'll just sort of quickly cover that. So let's get into the meat of today. Why create packages? Why not just go with what our industries have been so used to, of just having a list of services, and instead, why do we need to even think about this? So firstly, let's look at it from a customer's perspective and think about yourself outside of the sphere of accounting and bookkeeping. Think of it in just what you purchase. We buy real and tangible things. So the more tangible we can make something that is difficult at best. So I'm a chartered accountant by profession, and I know in Australia, FBT, fringe benefits tax. We know what it is, us accountants, but most small businesses, other than that they hate it, they wouldn't know, maybe about a fringe benefits tax review. And if we put that on our website, it's somewhat meaningless. And that's why we're buying the outcome, but we'd like to have things as much as tangible as we possibly can. Packages give us, try to make that intangible, which is the list of all those types of services. I picked the oddball one of FBT, but make the intangible as much as tangible as possible. But that's only one reason. And now it might sound like I'm stepping sideways, but it's a really important point as to why packages are powerful. And that is, all pricing is contextual. So remember, at the end of the day, we're in business. We're in business to provide great value, but we're in business, which means we have to sell. It's a dirty word in our industry, but we have to sell. And as a result, obviously, we have to set a price. Now, as accountants and bookkeepers, we hate this conversation about pricing. We try to avoid it, but the reality is we all have to address it at some point in time. When we're buying anything, we need to know the price. We also need to know the value. So what does this pricing being contextual mean? It means that when we are buying anything, we are comparing it to something. So let's pick on the Nespresso coffee pod machine sitting in the middle there on the screen as a really good example to illustrate this point. So some of the figures I'll use now are Australian figures, but they're very, very similar no matter New Zealand, the US. Australia is the highest consumer of instant coffee in the world. And the actual product that Nespresso is competing against in all of the countries is actually that instant or filtered coffee. Particularly in America, it's more the filtered coffee. But that's its real competition. But I'm sure most of you would have seen their ads at times with George Clooney starring in it, and the theme of the ad in no way would see that the comparison is against instant coffee. How even the coffee in the cup it's presented in the Nespresso ad is more like the coffee shop experience. Often the ads are trying to have a European feel to them, to try to go with that Italian espresso type imagery. And it's because they're trying to shift the context to compare the coffee pod, instead of to instant coffee, which is actually what it's replacing, to the coffee shop experience. So most pod machines are used at home or at place of work. They're not, which is where it's, you know, the former realm of instant coffee. So let's talk about what that has enabled them to do with their pricing, with that comparison point of view. They've been able to have a significantly higher margin on their coffee. So in Australia, using Australian dollars, instant coffee you can buy from our major supermarkets is around about $15 a kilo. Your Nescafe Blend 43 type brands. If you look at it on a per kilo basis, your coffee shop coffee, you're paying about $200 a kilo. And Nespresso coffee pods are $150 a kilo, effectively. So because they've shifted the context, the point of comparison. The other one to use is the Red Bull energy drink. Pretty well all of the energy drinks, it was just Red Bull started it. They went with, their real competition is Coca-Cola. It's to get you away from Coke, Pepsi, etc. So what they did is they changed the shape of the tin. Thinner, taller tin to stand out as something different. So it was changing the point of comparison. So what are you being compared to? Now, we've all had that comment that, you know, the accountant down the road or the bookkeeper down the road, you know, we've got to match their prices. Well, I don't believe that our competitors should set our prices. We need to think of the context. We need to, you know, in another topic, and I know Matt has talked about it in, and will be talking about it in some of the other month marketing sessions, about narrowing the focus of what you do. It's really important so that it's a key point of differentiation. I won't go into that too much further. But just coming back to this changing the context, one of the ways that we can change that point of comparison is actually make the comparison within. So instead of us being compared to the other firm down the road, it's now which package do we want? So the point of comparison is within. And that is the most compelling reason to have packages, is that we're shifting the context to make the comparison to within. So yes, we do want to buy real and tangible, and it has a huge benefit of achieving that goal. But it's where it's sort of like becomes even more powerful is when we're shifting the point of context. We are giving our customers options. And as soon as we're giving them options, then we are shifting that point of comparison, and suddenly we're opening up a whole other set of issues for them to think about, but it's not comparing us to somebody else, it's choosing which option. The evidence is clear from a study done in the United States that just by creating options, nothing else, not even narrowing the focus that BizInc and RevFirm would so much encourage you to do, but just by creating options will lead to a 16% increase in revenue to your business. And we believe that can be accelerated by how you present them, how you narrow the focus, all that sort of aspect. But there is good research to evidence that you'll at minimum get that sort of increase in revenue just by changing the context, by creating packages. So hopefully that's helped you understand just why it is so important to create options, that it is something that is a must that you need to think about. And now we start to get to the tough question is, okay, we accept that we need to do it, but how do we start thinking about this topic? And there's quite a bit that we can go through here. It all starts, though, by understanding value. We've got to think of it from our customer's point of view. When we're designing packages, sometimes we get in our own headspace as an accountant or bookkeeper, and we just think of it from our point of view. While we go, if we could put these set of services together, that could be our base package. And then maybe we can add a little bit here and a little bit more. And all that we've done is thought of it from our point of view. What makes sense to our firm? What makes sense to us? But remember, we're connecting with our customer, so we've got to make certain that it connects with the value that they want. So in a upcoming month of marketing topic, we'll be talking more about that aspect of the value conversation. But it's a real key that we understand the value of our chosen set of market. The value conversation is once we've, sitting in front of a prospective customer, what do we need to talk about? But firstly, when we're designing packages, we need to understand what is of value, what is of importance to our chosen set of customers, the people that we want to focus on. We need to understand the pain points that they have in their business, the issues that they are trying to solve that we can be of assistance to. Because in how we write our package, how we design our package, everything comes out of that understanding of value. It's got to be customer focused. I know that there are words that are easy to say, but we need to keep constantly thinking when we're getting into this exercise of creating packages. We need to keep constantly thinking about what is of value to the client. Which means that we're not about selling, it's about understanding at this point in time. It's not about developing a set of packages that we think are saleable. It's about understanding it from the perspective of the customer. Which means we must ask questions of our chosen market before we can really start truly crafting packages. We must diagnose before we can prescribe. So where do we start? Focus on the top, the premium, the ideal client with the ideal package. So the slide should probably read, to reiterate this point, focus on the top solution, not just one solution. The reason why I want to emphasize this point is don't start at designing your base package. Start at designing your premium or platinum package for your ideal client. When we get to present, there's another reason why this is important, but the important aspect of this is then we can determine what we take away to create the lesser packages rather than what we're trying to add. The reason why is we have a tendency when we're in the mindset of what can we add to increase the value that we'll add more work. Whereas remember, we're talking about value. So when we're designed our premium, platinum, Rolls Royce, whatever word you want, package, then we can go, right, we need to take away this to be the next level down, take away something else to get to the next level down, etc. So when we're starting this process of focus, of developing packages, we've got to start at the top. And the top for the ideal client. So ideal client, ideal solution. Think of everything that they want, all their pain points, everything that they want, everything that they need. Remember, this is the package that is the greatest value. So it's everything they need, even if when we're sitting across the table, they don't necessarily want some parts of it. That's in a later month of marketing session about how to communicate the value. But the point is when we're designing this, that we've got to understand what is the best value for our best clients. Now, an important point that I want to talk about in designing the package is what we call magic work versus logic work. So the logic work is the core of our business. It's the accounting function, the bookkeeping function that we do for our clients. But we all know that on top of that, there is stuff that we do that you could call the magic work. It's the stuff that is the real value. It might be the one-page sheet that shows their cash flow, working capital cycle, and that is of far more value to them then all of the stuff in preparing the monthly financials or the monthly other regulatory obligations that have to be done, that one pager that gives a real insight into their business is the magic work. It could be the conversations they have with you as the principal or your key members of your team, that are where they're bouncing ideas past you and you're talking about the strategy of the business. That's the magic work. So when we're starting to think of the packages, it's not just all logic work. It's not just all of the traditional, shall we say, services. We've got to also think of the magic work component. I have seen, and oftentimes it can really work, where the logic work is like a base package. And then the differences in the packages are actually purely just the magic work differences. So everybody gets the core compliance work, it's exactly the same. But the difference in the, the gold, silver, bronze, platinum, whatever it might be, those can revolve around different level of magic work. That I've also seen. So remember, when we're crafting packages, that it's not just logic work. We must really think of this magic work. So now let's get into some of the nitty-gritty of creating options. These are, what I'm going to go through now, are different elements that you need to think about. We know there are core services. We've talked a little bit about magic work. Now we can start thinking about other aspects of creating different packages. Timing. It could be, for instance, that your platinum package, that the reports and the meeting and everything will be done by the 10th day of following end of month. Whereas for the gold and silver, it's the 20th day. Another way of looking at timing is that the top package is monthly, the lower packages, it's quarterly. There's many different ways of looking at timing, but hopefully that gives you just a couple of little insights of how to create packages there. Talent. It could be that the top packages, the work's done here in Australia by Australians, etc. The lower packages is potentially outsourced. It could alternatively be that the person responsible for the relationship is higher level in your firm. You can, I have seen it work very well where that is specified in different parts of the packages, is what level of your firm, depending on the size of your firm, as to whether you utilize that. One that's often forgotten about in creating packages, we just think of those core services that we do, and we start to, maybe because of some of this, we start to think about some of the magic work, but we forget about training. So an important element could be that for your platinum or your gold level clients, that you also have some training sessions of the business owner or any other their team members on different aspects, whether it's technical training or whether it's training on what the numbers mean. Erin Rue is an accountant, the BSCPA in the US, only focuses on craft breweries. Yeah, what a focus. But a significant element of Erin's business now is actually training, is helping those those craft breweries understand their numbers, and also other aspect of training is because of the brewery industry has quite a large set of regulations. She does training on those regulations. So training can be an important element of your higher packages. You might be able to differentiate depending on what base of technology, what technology you use, technology you implement, the technology that's that you help them implement. An important element of when we're creating options is we could actually differentiate not based of what services, etc., are within the package, but also the terms. So the payment terms. So the monthly versus paying quarterly, but paying upfront annually. You could have different payment terms as ways to distinguish between the options as well. Transference is in some instances where you may actually transfer intellectual property, give them tools, templates, processes, and help them actually implement that. Others that, you know, you give them advice, but you don't give them the tools and the templates, whereas your platinum or your gold, you may actually give them some of the actual how-to, shall we say. So they are just 6 ways to start thinking about the options. They're not. This is not meant to be seen as a all-encompassing list of the only ways of creating options. We've got to think about the logic work. We've got to think about the magic work that we're doing, and then also start to just, you know, these 6 topics could help you think about other aspects of when we're crafting this package. Remember that we're focusing on the top package first for the ideal client, and then we can work what we take away. So for argument's sake, as I said earlier, pointed out about training, it could be that that's only the top package. The next packages down don't get that training element. You can see by taking away how it's much easier to demonstrate value. So one of the important points that I need to point out right now is when we're creating packages, this is a behind-the-scenes exercise in our firm. We'll probably end up with more than 3 packages. And that is fantastic, behind the scenes, right? We might have 4 or 5, 6, 7, not too many, shall we call them roughly standard packages. And I'll explain why I'm saying roughly standard. But we've got our platinum version for our ideal client, but we also appreciate we don't have a whole business of ideal clients. So we'd love to, and over time, that's what we are aiming to get to, but we don't, none of us are starting with that. So we will have behind the scenes come up with definitely more than 3 packages. We also appreciate that you're transitioning from clients that you're currently working with into this package environment, and therefore we need to think about that possibly your base package there is what they're getting now. We've got to have that as an option for our existing clients as we're transitioning. So that's behind the scenes. We will have more than 3 packages. We've created our ideal package for our ideal client, then we've worked out what we're taking away to get to that number 1 on the left-hand side as you're looking at the screen. But when you present to the clients, you only ever present 3 to a client. So you may have more than 3 behind the scenes, but you only ever present 3 to a client. Never more than 3. 3 is really powerful in that point of comparison. The whole point of going back to why we're having packages is that 3 has been proven to be by far and away the most powerful number in this regard. So we only ever present 3. We also, I'm not one to say that you have 5 that you just off the shelf, because you have a conversation with the client. The 3 that get presented may have some variations or alterations on those standard packages, because we're taking into account the actual client situation. So we're presenting 3, that's why I use those words, roughly standard. We're presenting 3, but they will be taking those, you know, the 3 from these previous group and slightly altering them to suit that particular client situation. We need to be really focusing on that magic work, the transformational services when we're designing these packages. That's going to be of more value, more perceived value, real and perceived, for the client. So it could be, and this is, please, it's not a prescription of what your packages should look like. It's just an example of what they might be. So you can see that the data verification slash compliance is just one line of the packages. Now, we appreciate that in a scope of work document, engagement letter, all the rest of it, you detail a lot more, but these are in the packages that we're presenting to clients. And as you can see just on screen, that some of the other aspects that could actually be in the packages. This is just an example. It's not seen to be as a template per se, but hopefully you can see that there's some different aspects of what your solutions are. The most of it is in that magic work rather than purely logic work. And we talked earlier about the only present 3 and customize the 3. And now I just want to quickly bring up another, it's an pricing point, but it has so much power when we're looking at packaging our services, that we must price the customer. And that means that we don't put 3 standard packages on a website. We have incredible power as accountants and bookkeepers. We've got a relationship with our clients. We must therefore look at pricing the customer, and therefore creating 3 packages that are customized for them, but also priced for them. You have a lot more power than just putting 3 packages. We aren't a tech company that doesn't have that ability and that is trying to sell the middle option of having a relationship. We are the ultimate relationship business. Sometimes it's said you can't scale this, but you know, probably the most profitable law firm in the world, turning over a bit over 700 million, creates packages and prices the customer. I think they've scaled this. So price the customer, it's where the real power lies. Because packages are a must for your business. Hopefully you've given a little bit of an insight into how to craft them. So the next topic is how to present these. Now that we've got them, what do we talk to our customer and how do we connect with them to be able to demonstrate this about the value? Now, in another month of marketing webinar later in the month, we'll be talking about the proposal, powerful proposals. It's the last one of this stream. I'm not going to go into that today, but it's an important aspect of presenting proposals, that we extend the invitation for them to choose which package that they want. So an important point is that we present the packages, we don't email. Now, whether that, depending upon your business, whether that's presenting using technology like Zoom or GoToMeeting or Skype, whatever technology it is, present, put it up on screen, go through it, and then and only then email it to them. Or if you a more business model is that you catch up with your prospective customers, then sit across the coffee table or boardroom table and present those packages. Don't email, because we must reveal from the top. Remember, the whole premise of designing the packages was what is the best value for our client. Then it is the same here, that we must present the best value of our packages as well. There's also another reason of that. Remember the point of comparison. One of the key reasons why we're doing this is that you can present your highest price first for your highest package. Then the next package is going to look, just by the point of comparison, it's going to look cheaper. So it's called the anchoring effect. But remember, we want everybody to take the platinum package because that is the best value. When we're presenting, we need to highlight the important elements, the value of the package, not the absolute detail, but what by taking that package will happen, what will be the outcomes that they will receive. Packages come with a fixed price. We're going to be talking about pricing in later month marketing sessions, so it's by definition a package has a fixed price. It's an important point to talk about. Point out the terms of the package. It could be that they get a discount if they pay up front. And I'll talk about unlimited access and guarantee in a minute. And now the one important element that we need to look at. When you saw that template there, you would have seen this little line down the bottom of the package called unlimited access. Most of you, I reckon the vast majority of you, your clients can email and contact you, ring, Skype, whatever it be, you at any time within business hours, I mean, and you will answer them. And it's hugely valuable to them. That access to you, the principal, or to senior people in your team is hugely valuable. So why don't we sell that? Why don't we specify that in our packages? Now, in the example on screen, it's only the top package that gets this. Appreciate that you might choose to give it to your middle package as well as we're transitioning to this process. But unlimited access, and you can define what unlimited means. It's not meaning 24/7, it's meaning unlimited during business hours, that they can ask you any question and that you will get back to them if you're not available immediately. And you as the principal, this is. Otherwise, the access is to other team members or only at those monthly meetings. It's the most valuable thing that you have, is your knowledge and insight. And most firms are giving it away free. It's the most powerful thing that you can put into your package, and it also delineates the value. We don't want anybody to just buy the bottom package. We want people to partake of the packages higher up the list. So those are the ones that have more access. It's the one thing that can really differentiate your packages. It's incredibly powerful, and most of you are undervaluing it and giving it away free. Highlight it, create the systems internally so that you can be able to deliver on it. Unlimited doesn't mean that when they ring you're always available. It just means that you are the person that will have those conversations with them. It's incredibly valuable. Don't just give it away. The other aspect is if you're willing to put a value guarantee, then that's also important as well, and you might only put that value guarantee on the higher packages as well. Now, value guarantee is not a specific guarantee that you'll save X dollars tax or make X dollars profit or whatever. A value guarantee is that if at any time they don't get value out of the relationship, you'll refund last month's fee or there's some consequence. And that is incredibly valuable as well. Now, think about this. You're already offering it. So why not, again, make a thing about it? If a person complains to you at the moment, you will bend over backwards to fix it. It's 99 out of 100 accountants and bookkeepers will do that. So you're already offering it. Why not make it a thing as part of your packages? So I know there's some questions that are coming in, Anthea, as well. The next session is from Matt of Biz Inc. of What Makes You Different, which the dates are on screen. But let's get to those questions, Anthea.
Yeah, so if anybody has any questions about anything that's been covered, please put them into the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel, but we do have a couple, so I'll ask them to you now. First one we have is from Sam. You mentioned, basically the question is, what should we call our packages? So you mentioned gold, silver, platinum, bronze, all those kind of words. What's the question there? Oh, sorry,
Um,
what's...
yeah, what's the answer? Um, I think some of us, and I've been guilty of this as well, we try to get a little bit too cute with our names. And sometimes that can work, that we come up with quite innovative names, business builder or accelerator or something like that. And the important thing is, if you are going to go down that path with names, have a consistent theme. So I know a firm has L plates, P plates, and open packages. So they're using the driving theme, and it's for startup businesses. So very intentional market, and so it sort of fits the that aspect. But use the but, it's a fairly big one, in that we are so familiar with platinum, gold, silver, bronze, that aspect, that sometimes that familiarity is really powerful as well. We're all used to the frequent flyer clubs, gold, silver, well, platinum, gold, silver, bronze, etc., frequent flyer, and other membership organisations are along that line. So don't be frightened away from using the platinum, gold, silver. It is something that we're comfortable with. But if you do go down the theme of other names, it's got to be consistent, and I think it's got to be really considering your market.
And we got another question here from Lisa. How can we know what customers value?
Come to the value conversation month of marketing session. No, joking aside from that, I'm only half joking. We're going to cover that in a lot of detail there, but we need to have the conversations with our chosen market. We need to really understand what's going on in their world. What are the common issues amongst it, and what is of keeping them up at night, keeping them worried. And some of those things that they'll value may be outside of what we do, but it gives us an insight into what's important to them, what priorities. So, for instance, if we're talking about small business, I think 9 out of 10 small business owners will say cash flow. But we've got to get to the layer under that. What does cash flow mean for these type of businesses? Is it that because they're dealing a lot with government contracts and governments are painful with their paperwork, that's actually where cash flow problem is actually stemming from? Or alternatively, is it the retail industry and there's the seasonality of retail that's actually causing the cash flow problem? So be a little careful of overall motherhood statements. Take the next layer down to understand what might actually be going on within that industry. So take tourism. That was the focus of my accounting firm when I had it, was the tourism industry. And I'm in Queensland, Australia. So, it's a big tourism industry. Had clients, Sunshine Coast, Brisbane, Cairns, Townsville, all in the major tourism spots of Australia. And of course, tourism has the seasonality, but also things that so cash flow issue in tourism is very much a seasonal thing, but it's also affected by world events. So, the SARS virus, etc., those sort of things can happen that can really just knock the tourism industry. 9/11, really hurt the tourism industry in Australia because people weren't very keen to hop on a plane and come from America to Australia. They didn't want to go anywhere on a plane. So really take the time to understand the next layer.
Cool. And we have another question. How should you present the packages if you can't do it in person? So if you're a virtual firm?
Uh, use, like I use Keynote, but use PowerPoint or Keynote, whatever your preference. Put them in a, and you can do it in a PDF as well. Document that you can share screen with your person, and as a result, go through it with them by sharing the screen and talking to them. So Live CA, an accounting firm in Canada, Josh and Chad are two of the principals. Now, they, one of them lives in Halifax, which is right over on the east coast of the eastern side of Canada, and the other one lives in various parts of the world. He's presently in South America, but he's been in Israel, he's been in Canada. So a true, and I've got, I think, about 15 staff now, a true virtual firm. And as a result, they are definitely going through, everything is virtual. And a follow-up part of that is absolutely you could use webcams as a key part of that as well, to give that more personal feeling than you're just sharing a screen. You can GoToMeeting that we're using, or GoToWebinar that we're using now, you can have the webcam and the screen up. So definitely use the technology. Virtual firm, it's very easy, really, to do and to make it a little bit personal. Now, that's going to appeal to a certain type of client that wants to deal with that way, and that's fine as well. Remember, an important part is knowing exactly who you want to focus on. So that's an important aspect as well.
Yeah, and another question, what are some good pricing tools? Are there any free ones?
Well, I just saw another question that came in, sorry. Good pricing tools. Oh, goodness, that's a tough question. Pricing is both an art and a science. So I think it's important to remember that some of the formulas, etc., that you can utilize out there as pricing will take you a little way. At least it'll get those who are still on the billable hour away. But the real power is when we go into the value conversation and really understand what is of value and then price off the back of that. So I know that's not a complete answer to what tools, because I think I really want to reiterate that pricing is truly both an art and a science. So it's understanding how we react to price, understanding that price is not set by cost, but price is set by value. But also the art side of it means that we really have to learn the skill of being able to understand value. Ask the questions of why, what if, how, those sort of questions to understand what's value to that particular client and be able to price accordingly. Now, the question that I laughed at, Nancy, I'm a little bit older and I'm used to this one, but the Steve Major of the $1 Million Man, it instantly dates a person of the $6 Million Man TV show that my daughter, David, would not even have a clue.
I do not.
So
I just wanted to mention on the pricing tools bit that we do have in the handout section an ebook on pricing, so that might have some answers for some of the questions there.
Yeah, there's another question there about taking payment up.
Yeah, should you try and take payment up front or after the work is done?
Okay, always as early as possible. Always as early as possible. Reiterate that. We want to separate as much as possible the pricing from the work. So we appreciate that a lot of firms are moving to monthly or quarterly collecting of the funds, and that is also a very appropriate strategy. but make certain it's done by, you know, some automatic form, direct debit or something like that. It's not that you're sending out an invoice and waiting for it to be paid. Set up a reoccurring situation so that you're taking, that money is happening no matter when the work is being done in that month. The money is being, the pricing and the payment, sorry, is happening, say, on the 1st of the month or the 15th, whatever you set that periodic reoccurring payment feature up. But also importantly, I think you should offer, for every package, you should offer an option where they prepay 12 months. So you don't have to. It's, you can have your packages. I've talked about terms are a different way, and you might have the top package is paid up front and the others are paid quarterly or something. But an option that or a way of crafting that I've seen really work is that you are got monthly price for all 3 packages, but also you have a figure that if they prepay 12 months, what that would be. What does it cost you to do that? Very little, really. Yes, you have to give some form of discount or alternatively increase your monthly price to compensate, whichever way you want to look at it. And even if only 1 out of 10 clients prepay 12 months, and you'll find it's actually more than that, but it improves your cash flow. So it's an absolute case that I think you should try to price it, get payment up front as far as possible that you can, and definitely offer the prepaid 12 months because I think it'll surprise you how many people will actually take that option, and we all know the cash flow impact to that. So I definitely don't want you to be pricing after the work is organising payment after the work is done. So to me, it's either a routine monthly or quarterly arrangement, or alternatively paid up front. Now I know for some compliance work, you may go 50% up front and then the rest done at certain points. That's just for the compliance, you know, if you've got a base package that is compliant. Now the other thing I just do want to quickly talk about is when you're designing packages, this question's actually reminded me. We all know that we get clients where you've got to fix up stuff, you know, fix up rescue jobs, whatever language we might all use. And it might be that that's a base for that package. Remember, we customize the packages. And it might be $5,000 for the cleanup work, for argument's sake. And you go, right, the payment arrangements are that's paid up front, and then after we move into the monthly reoccurring. So the, you know, that rescue work is also priced up front and paid up front. Hopefully that helps that question.
Yeah, and just back on the prepaid 12 months, we just got another question about it. I had a client ask if there was a discount if prepaid 12 months. What kind of discount would be the most you would suggest?
Okay, so we're accountants. Well, I'm an accountant. We've got accountants and bookkeepers here. So we're numbers people, and therefore we probably know the interest rate cost and effective cost of money. So therefore we'll go, well, you know, the interest rate in our country is 3% or something, so that's all the discount should be. Our clients don't think like us. So I think a rule of thumb is 10%. So we need to think about that when we're setting our price, because it's got to look appealing. It's got to look attractive for them to take advantage of that, that differential. So even though we know that that's got nothing to do with the cost of money, it's all about making it look appealing to them. So please, you know, I think a rule of thumb is about that 10% mark.
So if anybody has any more sorry, you go.
That's right. Yeah, as Anthea said, if anybody's got any more questions. Also just want to quickly, on screen there's a couple of links there. If anybody wants to know any more about the Revolutionary Firm, there's a link there and you can book a time to have a chat. Also importantly, in month of marketing, we're offering BizInc and RevFirm are offering some prizes, and you can find out more about how to go in the enter those prizes at monthofmarketing.com/prizes. So please check those out. You can potentially get a new website from Biz Inc. or be part of our program from Revolutionary Firm. But there are also some other aspects on offer as well. So please check out monthofmarketing.com/prizes, and also obviously monthofmarketing.com for all of the other upcoming sessions that we're Biz Inc. and Revolutionary Firm are running as well. Sorry, Anthony.
That's all good. I just have one more question, if you have any tips on transitioning existing clients to packages.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question in the sense of, remember we talked about that you may end up behind the scenes having more than 3, so to speak. I find that a good way is that the existing clients, you have the base option is how they're working with you. You might change the pricing if you've been on the billable hour to a fixed pricing, but really it's the same way that they've been used to getting stuff from you. You might slightly change the access, but effectively the base is what they're doing. And then the other 2 options are what you would like to do with them, because you know their business, you understand their problems, you understand what's going on, you've been doing their work for some period of time. And so you're creating 3 packages off that. Now, like everything, it's then sit down and have the conversation. If you're a virtual firm, do it over the appropriate piece of technology. Alternatively, sit down across a cup of coffee and have the conversation. Explain that you're changing the business, that you're narrowing the focus of what you do. You've created these 3 options for them to think about and go. But of course, we can keep going how you've been working. There might be the price change, and you can talk about that. But here are a couple other options for you to think about as well. So it's a slightly different presentation to a totally new prospect, where you start at the top, but you're pointing out the bottom, then you go to the top for the existing clients, because they are used to, they have a current set of expectations from you about how you work. So you need to reassure them that that is not going to super change, but you're giving them some other things to think about. I hope that helps. Don't email it out. Have the conversation.
So I think that's all the questions that I can see. So I think we'll wrap up now. Thanks everyone for coming along today, and that was a really great Q&A session. So thanks for your questions. Head to monthofmarketing.com. Those links on the screen, and you'll find out more about the prizes on offer. You can see the recording on that page. You can find out more about the Revolutionary Firm program, and we hope to see you in the next session, where you'll be learning about your unique selling point with Matt Wilkinson of Biz Inc. So thanks so much for coming along today. We'll wrap up now.